Salutations, my Fallout lovers. It is Matty here today, bringing you 5 more post-apocalyptic games that you should play before the announcement and finally release of Fallout 4. Now, before anything, be sure to check out the link in the description to my previous video. It is Pete Hines' comments on the Fallout 4 leaked development photos. So, anyways, last Wednesday I said, oh yeah, I want to go ahead and bring you guys 5 games that I recommend to you that are post-apocalyptic to kind of give you that atmosphere in the game that will hold you over until Fallout 4. And then people said, hey, you should do it one more week. So I'm going to do it one more week, give you my 5 final games to recommend, and then after that we will go ahead and move on with my normal top 10 series that I do every Wednesday and whatnot. So anyways, kicking off is one that I felt like I didn't have to include in the list because a lot of people were like, Matty, where is this game? But I was just like, I mean, it didn't really matter to me because I was just like, I thought everyone knew that you should play this game, but I'm going to do it anyways. The Last of Us, without a doubt, that's something that you have to play. Easily one of the best post-apocalyptic games out there, and while the ending wasn't something I was a huge fan of in the game, overall it is an experience that you really could not beat. It was emotional, it was just dramatic and desperate. It was an incredible game, and why I'm recommending it now is because when the PS3 was out, I don't think a lot of people really got to experience this game as Sony may have liked. And now with so many people switching from Microsoft over to Sony and getting a PS4 this generation, it seems that Sony re-releasing The Last of Us is a really good idea because a lot of people are going to be playing this game. And if you haven't bought a system and you haven't played The Last of Us, then by all means I recommend go buy a PS4, play The Last of Us. You are getting a Game of the Year game for your brand new shiny system, which not everyone has really experienced quite yet. So yeah, that's one game you have to play. Crafting system in the game, the gore, just the intensity and everything. It's a really well done game, and it's really hard to beat. Like I said though, wasn't a huge fan of the ending. I hope you guys don't kill me for that because I know everyone will jump and take a bullet for this game. Anyways, coming in at number 2, I try to pick sleeper titles for this game, or for these games, so that you guys can kind of mix it up, try new things out. And I got a few in this list, but not as many as my first one, so you should check that out. I'll put an annotation on screen. Anyways, this one is Prototype. I love the first Prototype. It's a guilty pleasure. I'm not afraid to admit it at all. The first Prototype was awesome. It came out around the same time as the first Infamous, and these two games are battling against each other, you know, which one's the better superhuman game. I thought the first Prototype was a hell of a lot better than the first Infamous. That's my personal opinion. But why am I recommending this game to you guys? Well, I really don't know. It's just, it gives me a good feel because it came out around my birthday and I just had a blast running around in this open city, destroying everything that came at me, just feeling like this ultimate badass. That's why I liked it more than the first Infamous. I played the first Infamous a few years later and I just didn't feel as empowered as I did in the first Prototype. The second Prototype is not good at all, but the first Prototype is so good. From a story perspective, my friend Matt, actually, who lives up the hill near me, he played the crap out of this game and unlocked every little tie that you could get from absorbing people's bodies and stuff. He knows that story down packed, and it's actually really interesting if you invest that time and try to learn everything there is about the virus and whatnot, and how he got his powers and everything. And yeah, it's really fun, and a game I have to recommend to you guys, no matter its age or anything. Anyways, number 3 is a game that, while I once again didn't feel I had to recommend, I feel I do because so few people have played it. And that's the first Borderlands. The first Borderlands has a much more post-apocalyptic feel compared to the second one. The second one's more futuristic. There's a lot more civilizations and whatnot. While the first one, and granted they're both on the same planet, don't get me wrong, Pandora, but the first one, I had more of that post-apocalyptic feel. If you don't know anything about Borderlands for some reason, basically it's a game where you choose one of 4 classes, or 5, I believe. I think there was a 5th one in Borderlands 2. And basically, the highlight of the game is its gun algorithm, where it basically, every enemy spawns and drops a completely random weapon or shield or something else, like a skin, especially in Borderlands 2, that is just randomly generated, and it's just fun changing out your weapons and everything. It's much like something like a shooter, Diablo 3 kind of thing, which is a game I actually just picked up. Diablo 3 is so much fun. I'm really enjoying that game. Anyways, point being is that if you love first-person shooters, you love open-world games, you love post-apocalyptic games, you will love Borderlands, especially if you get at least one other friend to get this with you. It's a really cheap game, and especially if you like Borderlands 1, you will love Borderlands 2 because the story in 2 is much better than the first one, but the first one, like I said, has that post-apocalyptic feel down packed. So, number 4. This is a good sleeper title I felt I slid in here. But I feel like you guys are going to look at me like I'm crazy and I got this weird game taste. But the first, hear me out, the first and only the first Dead Island game. The second one, Riptide, is horrible. It is a buggy mess. I agree with you to the max. I was totally delusional when I made my review. I admit it. But the first Dead Island is such a gem. It is so much fun. Once again, it's another game that I have to recommend you play with at least one friend. But just the combat, these, I don't want to call it classes, even though the characters you pick are class-based. But once again, the fun of this game is the weapons. Instead of most zombie games, really focusing on your guns and just shooting zombies in the head, much like something like Resident Evil. The highlight of this game is the crazy weapons you can craft together and whatnot. Once again, though, I do recommend you playing it with co-op because while the story isn't that good, it's much worse than Riptide. Trust me, if you play Riptide, you will appreciate the hell out of the first Dead Island and be like, wow, why can't we go back to that? It's got a ton of Easter eggs in it that you can explore, and like I said, there's unique weapons as well. And yeah, it's just a game I do recommend. It's another open world, post-apocalyptic game, and it's another game that I should recommend that you have friends to play with, at least one. That's what I did for both Borderlands and Dead Island. I had one friend of mine play it through with me. Anyways, the final and 5th game I will be recommending to you guys is, well, it's a next-gen game technically, but you can also get it on previous-gen systems in the previous installments. But that's the Dead Rising series. I wasn't a huge fan of it. I hated Dead Rising 2, mainly because I was somehow, I don't know how, but I was really bad at it. All I did was just get my ass kicked and caught in these crowds and stuff. Did not have that problem in Dead Rising 3. I love Dead Rising 3. It was one of my favorite games so far of this generation. This generation as an Xbox One and PS4. And while it's not really a next-gen defining game, its next-gen things come from the amount of zombies it fits on screens, the crazy contraptions you put together, the explosions, the weapons and vehicles and whatnot, the animations that each weapon has. It's really something that you can appreciate if you look at the technicality of the game. While it's, yes, 720p, 30 frames per second, there is a lot of fun gameplay to be had in this game. There's tons of side stuff to do, but obviously the main highlight in any Dead Rising game since Dead Rising 2 is the crazy, wacky creations you can get. Such as, for example, a Mega Man X Buster and armor set that you get once you beat the game. So it's really exciting, or you get the Buster once you beat the Nightmare version of the game. I apologize. But yeah, nonetheless, a really fun post-apocalyptic game. Yet another co-op game. It's not bad alone. I played half of it with my friend. Then he had work and everything, so I was just like, yo, I don't want my $500 system sitting there and collecting dust, so I'm going to play it through, and I played it through by myself. I had a great time, so it is a game that you can play by yourself. If you don't have an Xbox One, there is Dead Rising 2, which a lot of people raved about, but me personally was not a huge fan of it. Anyways, those are my 5 final games that are post-apocalyptic that I recommend to you guys. If you want to see my other 5, be sure to go ahead and click the annotation on the screen now, and it will link you guys to my previous 5 and final post-apocalyptic games I should recommend to you. Anyways, other than that, be sure to let me know in the comments down below. There are games that I have to try because of the serious recommendations from you guys. Games like the Stalker series. I am dying to try that one out. I forgot, there's one other series. Oh, Wasteland, that's what it was. That's another series I gotta try out. So it's not like I forgot, it's just I see them. I haven't played them though, so I can't recommend them. But I do really want to play Stalker, and I'm gonna look into posting some content for that because I've seen it kind of rising up on YouTube, and I'd love to cover that on a post-apocalyptic themed channel, if that makes any sense. Mainly Bethesda content, but you get what I'm trying to say here. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed. Leave your comments on your post-apocalyptic games that I should try out. Also, be sure to follow me on Twitter, like me on Facebook. Keep my discount codes in mind. Other than that, my Fallout lovers, stay sexy, stay active. I love you all. Peace.